Okay, did everybody get that on their screen? Okay, Nancy is going to tell us a story. And Nancy's a teacher, and she works with books and library stuff and the PJ library. And if she wants, she can say more about that. And we're going to hear a story with Nancy. I think things are happening behind the scenes tech-wise in terms of, well, no, it says, okay.
Good morning, Boker Tov. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to share a story about Sammy Spider. I'll bet a lot of you have met Sammy Spider before in a book. How many of you out there have? Yeah, so if you've heard this story before, hang in there with me. You can help me say the mother's part when she says, silly Sammy. But if you haven't, I hope you enjoy the book. Actually, I hope you all enjoy the book. And Isaac, do you know that Sammy visits the Shapiro's house in this story? So you're going to see that happening. So I'm going to share the book with you. If I can get it up, where is it? There we go. Okay, and here is Sammy Spider's first Rosh Hashanah. And this book was written by Sylvia A. Rouse, and someone else did the pictures. And that person is Catherine Janice Kahn. So this is her Sammy Spider. Sammy Spider dangled from a silky strand of webbing near the big picture window in the Shapiro's living room. Look, Mother, he said, pointing with one leg. Here comes the mail carrier with more cards for the Shapiros. Why has she been delivering so many cards this week? Anyone else getting cards this week? Probably mostly on email like me. Mrs. Spider looked lovingly at Sammy. Soon the Shapiros will celebrate Rosh Hashanah, she replied. Those cards are from family and friends who are wishing them a Shana Tova, a happy new year. Will we get cards too? Sammy asked hopefully. And Mother Spider says, silly little Sammy. Can you say that? Silly little Sammy, answered Mrs. Spider. Spiders don't celebrate Rosh Hashanah. Spiders spin webs. Ooh, I have to lower my screen. Which reminds me, our web is getting a little crowded. When you were born, we lived in a small web. Now our web is middle-sized, but you grew so much over the summer that we need to spin a large one. Sammy wasn't paying attention. He was hanging above the shelf, watching Mr. Shapiro display the new cards. They were all different sizes. Some were large, some were middle-sized, and some were small. Aren't they beautiful, Mother? Sammy sighed. But before Mrs. Spider could answer, Sammy scurried across the ceiling into the Shapiro's kitchen. Mrs. Shapiro and Josh were kneading dough, shaping it into circles. Can you all knead the dough like Josh was? What are they doing now? He called to his mother. They're making round challahs for Rosh Hashanah, she answered. Mrs. Shapiro is making a large challah for the family, a middle-sized challah for the neighbors, and Josh is making a small challah for himself. Can we make challah too? Sammy asked. And what does his mother say? Silly little Sammy, laughed his mother. Spiders don't need dough. Spiders spin webs. The next morning, Sammy woke to a chopping sound in the kitchen, and Mr. Shapiro was slicing apples, big red ones, middle-sized yellow ones, and small green ones. Nearby, Josh was filling 3 bowls with honey. There was a large bowl for Mr. Shapiro, a middle-sized bowl for Mrs. Shapiro, and a small bowl for himself. Mrs. Spider came over to Sammy. Rosh Hashanah begins tonight, she explained. At dinner, the Shapiros will dip apples into honey for a sweet new year. And if you haven't done that yet, we're going to have a chance to do it later if you want. Can we dip apples too? Asked Sammy. And Mama says, silly little Sammy, spiders don't dip apples. What do? Spiders spin webs. The next morning, everyone got dressed up to go to the synagogue. They must not be having COVID right now. Mrs. Shapiro put on a big gray coat. Mrs. Shapiro wore her middle-sized red coat, and Josh put on his small blue jacket. I can't wait for the rabbi to blow the shofar, Josh exclaimed as they left the house. Josh and his family are going to services, Mrs. Spider whispered to Sammy. The rabbi will blow the shofar to welcome the new year. Can we go too? Asked Sammy. And Mama said, silly little Sammy, shaking her head, spiders don't go to synagogue. What do, everyone? Spiders spin webs. Come help me spin our new, larger web. But instead, Sammy swung down to the kitchen counter and crawled toward the bowl of apples. And in his excitement, he stepped into a drop of spilled honey. All of a sudden, he couldn't move. His 8 little legs were stuck. He struggled to free himself. Help, Mother, he cried. The honey won't let go of me. Mrs. Spider lowered herself on a strand of webbing and tried to pull Sammy free. She pulled and pulled until she had to catch her breath, and Sammy began to cry. As he bent his face to wipe away the tears, a drop of honey got into his mouth, and it tasted sweet. Sammy took a little swallow, then a middle-sized swallow, and soon he was taking great big swallows, and before he knew it, he wasn't stuck anymore. Mrs. Spider scooped Sammy up and held him close. He still felt sticky. See, Mother, he said, spiders can have a sweet new year. All you have to do is dip me in honey. Mrs. Spider hugged Sammy closer. The Shapiros can celebrate a sweet new year, she laughed, but I'm just happy to have a sweet you near. And that's the end of Sammy's first Rosh Hashanah. I hope you enjoyed the book. I better close it up. And Eric, thank you for sharing your house with us and your family in another sort of way. Okay, Joel, back to you.
Thank you. A sweet you near. Okay. I confess, I wasn't ready for that. That was awesome. Well, after that, I'm kind of hungry. Are you? We were talking about apples and honey, and now is a good time if you have an apple around and maybe have some honey. We're going to have a chance for those who want. Both we're going to sing a song, and then we're going to do what the song talks about, which is have apples and honey for a sweet new year. Let's sing it first. Hope you know it. Okay, thank you. I'm hearing that I'm not loud enough. How do I sound now? Do I sound okay? Okay. Yeah, I'm taking myself closer to the mic. Apples and honey for Rosh Hashanah. Apples and honey for Rosh Hashanah. A good year, a sweet year. Apples and honey for Rosh Hashanah. We'll sing it one more time. Apples and honey for Rosh Hashanah. Apples and honey for Rosh Hashanah. A good year, a sweet year. Apples and honey for Rosh Hashanah. And yesterday I was at our store. It's a store called Afikoman. Let's show it to you here. It's our local store for Judaica in Berkeley. This is an unpaid plug. And I got a piece of paper that tells me about a special blessing to say for apples, like we say hamotzi when we eat bread, and many people know how to say Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen, usually when we're drinking grape juice or wine. This blessing is almost the same, except instead of saying borei peri hagafen, gafen means vine, like the vine for grapes, we say borei peri ha'etz, and ha'etz means tree. So let's try saying that blessing. You know most of it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri ha'etz. And you can, if you have apples handy and honey, you can take a slice of apple, dip it in honey, and taste the sweetness. And maybe just put a hope in your own mind or a prayer for a sweet and good new year. And on the back of that page, I don't know if you can see this, there actually are some, get ready, apple jokes. And I feel like after hearing about a sweet you near, I have to tell some apple jokes. So you can unmute if you want and give the answer if you know it. What do you call a grumpy apple? Anybody? A crab apple. Why did the apple go to the doctor? Anybody know this one? Okay, I'll tell you. It wasn't peeling well. I'm sure you're all laughing. Okay, last one for now. There's also some bee jokes on here for honey. Why did the apple pie go to the dentist? Because it needed a filling. Okay. And now, as you're enjoying your apples and honey, we're going to hand things back off to Nancy, and we're going to do a little project, make some stuff. Nancy's going to tell you all about it. Nancy, I'm seeing you. You're still muted, though.
Okay, I'll start again. Sorry about that.
No problem.
We're going to do a project, make a card for Rabbi Bridget, because she can't be with us today, but we want her to know that we're thinking about her and missing her. So we thought it would be great if everyone could make her a get well card, happy Rosh Hashanah card, whatever you want, really. And so on your paper, you can draw something that has to do with Rosh Hashanah, like an apple. So maybe you want to draw an apple. I draw my apples kind of like this, but you can draw it any way you want. And you can color it in. I'm not very good. I can't do it very well on the computer, but you can color it in. If you don't want to do an apple, do whatever you want, because I'm sure she would like it. Flowers to make her feel better, little bees that are making honey, whatever.
If anybody remembers
go ahead.
If you remember what a shofar looks like, and I'm not going to ask Nancy to draw that because I wouldn't ask anybody to do that on command and on a computer. But you can draw a shofar. Just other ideas. Go ahead, Nancy.
Okay. And if you want to try to write on it, or you can get your parents to help you, but if you're old enough and want to try to write the words, you write happy like this, Rosh Hashanah. That's how you write it. What else might you want to say? You could say, mention Rabbi Bridget's name, and somebody's going to have, tell me if I'm spelling her name wrong. Is that right?
Nope, that's right.
Okay, so you could write Rabbi Bridget on there. You might want to write, hope you feel better or get well soon. Whatever, you can decide. How's that look? I don't know. I need to, maybe, I don't know if I can draw. There we go. Let's see. Nope, I can't do it with that. How are your pictures coming along? What we're going to do is everybody's going to hold up the card that they made when they're done in a few minutes. And we're going to take a picture of all of you with your cards. And we're going to send that picture to Rabbi Bridget so she really gets it. Here we go. Let's see if I can do something like a shofar. It kind of looks like a banana. The shofar.
That works for me.
So it's the best I can do. A bumblebee can be round with wings. I'm just having fun. That's not a good wing.
Oh, no, you can't have fun. Sorry, no fun.
I'm missing an eye. Oh my gosh, this is terrible. Your pictures are probably much better than this. Terrible wing. I have to do something about that. Okay. How's everyone doing with their pictures? You can unmute yourself if you want to ask me to spell any other words for you, or you have a parent there who can help you. I see on Jim, on somebody's picture, they have pomegranates. Pomegranates are also very popular. They look more like this.
I think, as a matter of fact,
And they're also red, so I've got the right color here. And I can color that in red. You can make a challah. So whenever we're out of time, I don't have my watch going. You can have the kids hold up their pictures. I see Vanessa, I see a lot of people still drawing.
If we want to mail this to her, can we get the address?
We can, you could try, let me see, am I audible? Yeah. info@jewishgateways.org would probably work.
I think you want to mail, snail mail, is that right?
Well, I mean, I gave her a get well soon card to draw on, so I thought we could just literally mail it.
I think the address is 1164 Solano Avenue. Am I right? Anybody?
Oh, is that the one you want to use?
It's the official mailing address for Jewish Gateways, I think.
Joel, would you like me to confirm that and post it?
That would be super, Jim. Thank you.
So on the Jewish website, we'll have an actual address on it.
The Jewish Gateways website. I things were cutting in and out a bit. I think, Lori, maybe just repeat that because we didn't hear everything.
The Jewish Gateways website will also have an actual mail address on it. But if you look under donations, there should be a place that you can send checks there, I believe. That would be the same address.
And I'm seeing it coming into the chat also from Gina.
Terrific.
And if you look at, if you're looking for, this is what I was trying to find before. If you look at the square that says Tech Christine, who's our wonderful tech person, there's a Jewish Gateways logo there, and right in the middle of it is a big red pomegranate. Let's take about one more minute. And of course, you can finish them up. and send them later, you can send them regular United States Postal Service to the address that hopefully is now in the chat. You can also snap a photo of it and email it to the Jewish Gateway's email address. And if those don't work, let us know. We'll figure something out. Let's take one more minute, and then we're going to take a screenshot, a group screenshot, and then wrap up the service.
Oh, and don't forget to sign your name. Make sure you write your name on the bottom. Oh, Colette, what a beautiful job you did. I can't see everyone's card, but I can see hers. She's holding it up beautifully. Thank you, Colette. Who else has a card?
Yeah, if you're ready,
You're ready to share.
hold it up. Get ready in a very brief time, a few seconds actually. We're all going to just hold up however far we've gotten, which is fine. I think I see another
I
one
see.
going
Is that Isaac? Is that you with your card? I don't know if that's your name or your dad's name. Simon's card is held up. Lynn's, I know that's Goldie. Is that you? I can't tell exactly who's who. Elizabeth.
Keep holding them up, folks. I'm going to wait until everyone's holding it up, and then I'm going to take a picture. So keep holding them up. And if you're not holding them up yet, do it right now, please.
Yes, I'm going to count down, just like launching a rocket ship. I'm going to count down from 10, and when we get to 0, we're going to snap that screenshot. So hold it up. Even if you're not quite done yet, hold it up, hold it up, and up. Here we go. 10,
Oh, beautiful
9,
cards.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, snapshot. And let's do, I don't know, did you have everybody on your screen, Christine, or do we need to do another one? Okay.
Everyone's on one screen.
You have more pixels than I do. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you for everybody for participating in that. I'm sure Rabbi Bridget is going to love it. And one of the things about Rosh Hashanah, have you heard that Rosh Hashanah is a birthday? I mean, some people were born on Rosh Hashanah. But even if you weren't born on Rosh Hashanah, it is still a birthday, and not only for those people. Anybody know whose birthday it is? It is, according to our ancient rabbis, it is the world's birthday. So it's a day to say happy birthday to the world. And if you want, you can even make another card, not right now, or you can start now if you like. A happy birthday card for the world. And this is a song about time, and it's a time when we come back, just like when you come back to your birthday and you turn 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, you might want to look back and say, how was that year? What do I want to do in my new year of being on the planet? This is a song about going round and round the cycles of the year. And here's a part which you can sing. I hope you do with me. And we go round and round and round, and we go round and round. I'm going to turn off my audio for just a second because there is a frog in my throat. Oh no. Okay, let's see if the frog is gone. Let's sing that one more time. And we go round and round and round, and we go round and round. So that's your part. This first part, what if you look up in the sky? First, if you look at it, makes a sliver, not all on the same days, then a quarter, and then a half, and then a big full circle. What do you see in the sky that looks like that? You can unmute and say it if you want.
Moon.
It's the moon, thank you, right. And the moon, the word month actually comes from the word moon. And in many traditions, we don't, in America and most of the country in our regular calendar, the month starts whenever it starts, but in the Jewish calendar, it always starts on the new moon, that little tiny sliver. A sliver, a quarter, a half, then full light, revealing yourself in the darkness of night. And here comes our we go round part. And we go round and round and round, and we go round and round. This is the cycle, the rhythm of time. Days turn to weeks, into months, into years, and we go round and round and round, and we go round and round. A sliver, a quarter, a half, then full heart, revealing the mysteries that set us apart. Here we go. And we go round and round and round, and we go round and round. Earth sleeps in winter, awakening spring. Light kisses the summer, igniting the fall. And we go round and round and round, and we go round and round. A sliver, a quarter, a half, and then whole, renewed by your presence, touching the soul. And we go round and round and round, and we go round and round, and we go round and round and round, and we go round and round. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to introduce another extra special guest now, who I see on the screen. Her name is Suzanne Chasselow. And if you weren't sure what a shofar looks like before, this is what one shofar looks like. Look at that thing. Sometimes they're small and they have a single bend. And actually on that text screen for Christine, right under the pomegranate, you can see the outline of a shofar also. And we're going to ask Suzanne once she... Oh, look at that.
I ran away.
Another one. So there's a smaller shofar. Maybe we can spotlight Suzanne so we can see those again.
Juniper, show us your shofar too.
Oh, yeah. Juniper's got one.
It's red.
And we're going to get a chance to blow those shofar out in a moment. So Suzanne is going to pick a shofar, unless you want to do both of them. I know you don't do them at the same time. And we're going to blow a big Tikki'ah Gedolah, and then we're going to sing the shofar blast song. So, Suzanne, if you are ready, everybody, once again, just like we did for Shema, we're going to get ourselves really quiet, and we're going to listen to that sound of the shofar after I say Tikki'ah Gedolah. Here we go. Tikki'ah Gedolah. Wow. Yasher Koach. That's a Hebrew Jewish way of saying nice job and thank you. I'll bet that you know the shofar blast song. Let's sing it. And we're going to get a chance to make that Tikki'ah. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Shana, shana, shana tova. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Shana, shana, shana tova. Now I'm going to say the name of each of the shofar calls. The first one is tikiyah. That's a short tikiyah. We heard a long tikiyah before. And a tikiyah sounds like that. So we did this last year too. If you want to unmute yourself and blow your shofar sound during the song, it gets kind of goofy and crazy, but it's also fun, so feel free. So after I sing tikiyah, then it'll be your turn. Ready? Tikiyah, your turn. Tikiyah. And back to the song. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Shana tana tana tova. Tikiyah, your turn. Tikiyah. This one goes shivarim. Try that. Shivarim. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Shana, shana, shana tova. Here comes tikiyah, tikiyah. Your turn, tikiyah. Shivarim. Here we go. Shivarim. And the new one goes like this. Teru ah 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 ah. Try that. Teru ah 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 ah. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Shana, shana, shana tova. Tikiyah. Shivarim. Teru ah 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 ah. Ready? Teru ah 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 ah. And now take a big breath for tikiyah gedolah. Tikiyah gedolah. All together. Tikiyah I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Shana, shana, shana tova. Shana, shana, shana tova. Shana, shana, shana tova. Yay, thank you for singing. Thank you for blowing your shofar. And a big high five. If you have challah and if you have juice, you can bring those out. I'm going to step away just a second and grab my challah. Okay. So with our juice, we're going to say the Borei Pri Hagafen blessing. We actually said it a little bit earlier in the service. There is Hazel's shofar. Thank you. No, thank you for that. That was awesome. Let's say the bracha, the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei Pri Hagafen. And take a sip of your grape juice or wine or whatever other juice you might have. And for the challah, the Hamotzi prayer, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. And take a bite of whatever you have on hand. I know some folks don't actually eat bread, and that is fine. Or they don't eat wheat. So something you have that's really tasty and lovely. Thank you all for coming and being a part of the service. Thank you to Suzanne for shofar blowing. Thank you to Nancy for helping us with our project and our story. Thank you to Christine and Eric for our tech. And to everybody, there are so many people who are here on the screen, like Jim and Lori and others who have been helping us out, who have been helping Rabbi Bridget out as she recovers from being hurt. So just a big, huge thank you to everybody for being part of this wonderful community. You can stick around if you want. We can chat. We can unmute. And in a little while, we're going to close down this Zoom and get ready for the service for grown-ups at 10:30. Thank you again, Shana Tova.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Hazel's showing off her homemade shofar.
Awesome. Let's see. People are dissipating. Suzanne, question for you. When I hear the shofar blast, the audio cuts in and out, and I'm wondering is your original sound on or off?
It's on.
Original sound is on, which is what we want. Okay, I give up.
I have a theory. It's because I wonder if you mute Joel, if everyone but Suzanne is muted when they blow the shofar, that might make a difference. And it also could just be a connectivity issue.
Right, and I'm wondering if just because the shofar is just giving, obviously it's giving a super loud signal, and I wonder if Zoom itself has some kind of a signal limiter or something like that.
I could try. Maybe we can talk after this service is over. Do you have a moment?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll stay on.
If you don't need me anymore, I'm going to take off. It was
Nancy,
fun.
thank you.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was a lot of fun, and I wasn't ready for a happy you near. That made my morning. Thank you.
Good enough. We'll see you later.
Take care. Thank you, Nancy.
And thanks, Christine.
Suzanne, would you mind showing us the shofar again? We heard it, but we didn't see it. Look, that's the shofar.
One.
Isn't that beautiful? And is that a horn, Sam?
Yeah, no.
No, it's not.
It's a homemade one.
It's a homemade one. I think that is really a ram's horn, right?
It is. And here's a smaller one.
The little one. And it's also a ram's horn.
Suzanne, where did you get those? They're impressive.
This one I got at Afikomen, which Joel mentioned earlier. And this one, a man at Congregation Shareth Israel in San Francisco made, and he didn't polish this one, but
beautiful.
Yeah.
This was from him.
That's beautiful.
Suzanne, what is your instrument?
French horn.
French horn. Okay. I was looking at Corno Sue's, which is her email address.
Corno, yeah.
Okay. Corno, of course. Corn just means corn. And I was wondering if it was maybe the cornet. So the French horn is your instrument. Okay.
Oh, no, thank you. I'm fasting.
One more grape juice.
Can I give you just one more serving of grape juice?
Okay.
Just one more little bit of big grape juice. Thank you for asking so nicely.
Thank you, everybody. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
So, Suzanne, let's go ahead. I think this is a good time.
Okay. So I'm going to look at my audio settings.
Okay.
And I see that my mic is at maximum volume, so I'm going to turn that down halfway.
Why don't we try? Okay, why don't we actually just with that? let's we'll change one thing at a time. Go ahead and do a longish takia, and we can see if the audio effects happen.
Okay. Is it still?
No, we're on the right track, and thank you, Christine. Let's try it one more time with me muted, because I'd forgotten to mute, and I think when Christine muted me, that may have fixed it. I think we have our answer.
Oh, perfect.
So, Christine, please yell at me. Remind me to mute. I think Rabbi Ruth is going to do the shofar calls for the service. We'll have to remind her to mute as soon as she does a call also. That seemed to... We could try it again with your mic up a little bit, Suzanne, and me muted. Why don't you take it to about 60%, 3/4 or so?
Okay. You're muted. Joel? I can't hear you.
Oh, right, because I was muted. What I just said was I tried muting and unmuting while you were blowing, and sure enough, at least on my end, I got good audio when I was muted, and I got cutting in and out when I was unmuted. So I'm going to make sure to stay muted. And I see a disembodied thumbs up from Christine.
Oh, yes, I see that. Okay, anything else?
No, that's perfect. Awesome.
I have the order of the calls.
And I think they show up on our slideshow.
Oh, okay.
If not, I'll check with Rabbi Ruth and make sure she's got the order of the calls.
Great. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
See you later.
Excellent. There's an embodied thumbs up.
Thanks.
Terrific. Thank you, Suzanne.
You're welcome.
We're going to close down until 10 when up.
Yeah, I'm guessing. I'm not sure if these are family service folks who are still on. It's really just two people besides us. Sherry has just disappeared.
I'm putting them in the waiting room.
Okay. Such powers.
Yep. Did we talk? Did we say what time? Did Rabbi Ruth say what time she was joining us?
I thought it would be about 10.
That's my assumption too.
She did call me this morning to make sure I was up, so she's up.
That's nice.
Oh, I said, what did she say? Oh, she said I'm glad you're a night owl, and I said, yeah, be glad Tuesday morning if I wake up. She said, would you like me to call you? I said, yes.
That's so kind.
So that happened.
All right.
And then she said, I'm not a morning person either.
Okay, I think I'm ready. I have 2 slides for the shofar.
I'm going to put them up. Okay, that's one. Good. Those are the calls right there. All right, cool.
All right, I'm just gonna turn off video and go make myself some toast.
Awesome. I will also take care of bodily needs.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Doing okay. Just glad the service this morning go all right.
Oh yeah, it was really good.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Getting myself together. I started to say to your husband last night that he and I have the same hairdo.
Matching.
Oh,
Did you see Lori's email?
yes.
Okay, good.
And I will make announcements appropriately. I don't know whether we can really stop people from putting what they want to put in the chat, but I'll give it a try.
Yeah, that's accurate. Also, if you would like, and I don't know how effective or more effective or less effective this would be, but if you don't want to be the quote unquote bad guy, I'm more than happy to say that when I say stuff about how to rename. I can just treat it like digital housekeeping and ask you.
I think they're more likely to actually do it if I say something.
Okay, that makes sense.
I wish the world were not that way, but
I get it though. I get it. That's fair.
Also, if we split up the bad guy duties, they're more likely to hear both of them.
There you go.
Oh, wow. Okay, let's see. Main thing with this beret is fixing it so it doesn't distract me and I don't pick at it for the whole service.
I'll be right back.
All righty.
Good Yontif. Good morning.
Yontif. Getting my notes together here. How did things go this morning?
I think they went okay.
That is all we need.
Yep. I think people
okay is good enough.
We made some nice cards for Rabbi Bridget.
Oh, wonderful.
It was all good. We told goofy apple jokes.
All right.
Afi Komen this year was handing out a sheet that had the bracha for apples, the blessing for New Year, and on the back a bunch of apple jokes and bee jokes.
Love it.
They were. Why did the apple pie have to go to the dentist?
Oh no.
It wasn't. It needed a filling.
Yeah. Okay.
You get a. Why did the apple have to go to the doctor?
Because he was sick.
It wasn't peeling well.
Oh, there you go.
Uh-huh. So now we have. Come on, Eric. I need another crying with laughter face. Thank you. There you go. Now all is right with the world. You know, for a mic that I got because it wasn't supposed to be sensitive to placement, it's pretty sensitive to placement. I'm glad I'm running the guitar through a separate input. One note for Rabbi Ruth, unless Christine, you've gone over this already. I discovered last night that when Suzanne was actually blowing the shofar physically, I heard the sound like cut in and out.
Okay. I heard it. It sounded okay to me, but
it didn't like stop and start.
Nope. It was
okay. So maybe it's just on my end. Then I found that if I'm sure to be muted, and it's really weird because all my audio signals coming through phones. There's nothing that should be impinging on the mic.
It was cutting out on our end too.
Oh, okay. Then it might be my hearing problem.
Were you muted?
Yeah, we were muted, and it was cutting out as well. So yeah, I think that just with Zoom, normally when there two signals come in at the same time, it usually cuts one out.
Right.
So I would say, just to be safe, that we should all be muted except for Suzanne.
Perfect. Thank you. I guess I see a ribbon mic in my future, because those are supposed to be even less sensitive to placement than these large diaphragm condensers. Okay, I've got my lab coat on. My eyes are mostly open.
Good job.
I decided that what caffeine does is make eyelids stronger.
You know, I have a perverse reaction to coffee. Makes me sleepy.
I've had, yeah, that can happen to me too. If you have any indications of ADD or anything similar, that paradoxical reaction is common.
Oh, that makes some sense. Well,
that's why ADD folks take stimulants to calm down.
Gotcha.
And my friend, who did not get such a diagnosis until college, just realized, and she usually, I think she has, something fairly intense like Ritalin or Adderall on hand, but normally a cup of coffee will do it.
It is wonderful that they do all the testing they do now.
Yeah.
I managed to get into my 40s without realizing I had a 50% hearing loss and a bunch of learning disabilities.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, back in a jiff.
Okie dokie. Just getting all my stuff on my screen where I want it.
Yep.
There we go. Now, Rosh Hashanah morning. Kleenex.
I need to test the Bridget video.
Okay.
Hard, not great. Well, this is why we're doing this.
Yes.
Download. Let's try it from here. I think that's should be a better option. Okay. Stop.
Okay. Just so you know, I have a plan B here and it still can fly.
Oh, I think we're good. I need to play it from a different spot. Give me one quick sec.
Oh, sure. No problem.
All right. So, out of this. You. Screen.
How's my audio?
Sounds good.
Good.
Good signal? Loud enough? I'm adjusting placement a bit. Okay. Dang. It's, 1, 2, 3. Okay. I looked at that and I said, wait a minute. Rabbi Bridget, you're here?
I'm going to say a few words before I start reading from the Torah. And I'm going to read in Hebrew and then translate it into English as I go.
How's the sound?
This is
a little low.
That's as high as I can make it.
Well, we'll keep it there then.
I will be sure and warn people beforehand when I do the setup for it.
Okay, thank you. It's audible. It's not super strong. It's audible as long as people stay muted and keep, I could probably bring my my own computer volume up, but relative to the rest of the audio I'm getting, it's softer.
Okay.
It's what we got.
Yeah.
It's all good. Time to switch tabs on my outline.
I mean, I think I feel really super ready. I also just like humility and all, but we all did a really great job last night. So well done you, well done everyone.
Well done everybody.
It went
well
really,
done,
really
us.
well.
I have been, I've been part of this mutual admiration society for the last 8 or 9 days. Just being so tickled, in the face of a difficult circumstance, but just tickled with, with how everybody has stepped up and just gotten it done.
Just a remarkable absence of egos. I'm honored.
Thank you. Yes, whoever said, was it you who said that last night, Rabbi Ruth? It was like, yeah, exactly. Just tell me what needs to get done. We'll get it done. If it's me, great. If it's someone else, great.
One of my teachers said to me years ago, it is a service, not a show.
Indeed.
And as long as everybody remembers that, it works a whole lot better. So
yeah.
But y'all are terrific. This has been good. Now we're not going to tempt fate by getting into too much happy stuff, but
Toot. I won't say no evil eye around here, but I did my best just now.
Yep.
What time do we want to start letting folks in?
10 minutes before is fine by me.
Okay.
Works for me.
They like to gather and see each other.
Yeah. 10:20 works for me. Ready to rock and roll. Except in the California sense of that. Except for the living on the Hayward Fault sense of that thing.
Yes.
Hello, Rabbi Bridget. Good morning.
Have to rechange myself. I have to rename myself. I run some groups on her account, and so I'm always
Got it.
Okay.
Would you mind terribly signing out of her account and signing back into your own to join
I don't know how to
services?
do that. I don't know how to do that. I'm always on. I'm not doing that deliberately. I inscribed under my own name. I did it last. Yeah, and it comes up. I'm just going to rename myself. That should do it, I think.
The account is the Rabbi Win or the Jewish Gateways
Yeah.
account, right?
Yeah.
There are some Zoom issues with that, but that's cool.
But that was a very nice service yesterday, Rabbi Ruth.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Joel, very nice.
Thank you very much. Well, it was, as we've just been talking about, very much a team effort, which are usually the best kind.
Oh, I don't know if my husband is in or not. Oh, there's 14 people entered the waiting room.
Yeah,
Catherine,
we're
are you helping
opening
with
at
the hosting?
10:20.
Oh, okay. So I just got in because I'm Bridget. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll leave and I'll come back later.
No, it's all right. It's okay.
No, we're opening right now. It's
like-
all the same. Rabbi Ruth, Joel, are you ready?
We're ready.
All right, here we
I'm
go.
ready.
The opening now. They let me in because I'm Bridget. But oh well.
It's all good. Hello again.
Hello, faithfuls.
Lori, it's good morning again.
Good morning, Joel. That was a beautiful service this morning.
Thank you very much.
It was so much fun. I was glad I could put down my phone long enough to be there and watch you while you.
Right. Yeah.
Lots of smiles to my face. We had 30 families there, everybody, and everyone's not a soul left. And Joel and Nancy Brenner are inspired with children. They're great. Yeah.
Nancy's
Wonderful.
a lifesaver.
How many did we have last night? Do you know, Lori?
We had
100.
107 households, 137 people.
Wow.
Yeah. And that lasted really well too. Lots of people.
Yeah, no, we stayed right at the 103, to 98, 103 mark pretty much the whole time.
So I think we're getting the hang of this.
Right? We definitely, if God forbid we're doing this again on Zoom next year, we can't say we're acknowledging the strangeness of the virtual setting. We might have to acknowledge the strangeness of being in person.
Hopefully we will.
Yeah, right? Can it be so?
Yes.
Lori, you are starting things off this morning, correct?
I will again. It's going to be pretty much my speech from last night, but I stuck a few things in there to update it and make it a little apropos.
Great.
We'll be grading you.
Okay, well,
I'll hold up a big number when you're done giving you your score.
There you go. Unfortunately, Joel, I'm always grading myself, but that's one of the things I work on.
good.
great
It's a
anyway,
good
Joel.
day to bring some awareness to that.
Yes, oh, yes, yes. There is awareness.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, everybody. So good to see you.
I'm trying to rename myself, but I don't see how to do it. I'm sorry.
Linda, do you, when you put your cursor on your face, do you see 3 little dots in the upper right-hand corner? I don't know what kind of instrumentation you're on.
No, I've got a Chromebook.
A Chromebook. Oh, boy. Well, I'm afraid that may take a little work for me to figure out how to explain that to you.
I can help, hopefully.
Oh, good. Here's our tech expert.
Do you see something that says participants?
Down.
Where? Oh, yes, I do. 24. Yes.
Click on that.
Okay.
And then
All
find
right.
your name or
Yeah.
find the name Linda
Got
Wallen.
it.
Hover over
Rename.
it. Do you see something that says more?
Yeah, now I can rename myself. I see it.
There you go.
Yay! Can't
Thank
believe
you.
Christine can do 5 things at the same time, but she can.
I'm impressed. Clearly, okay, so I did okay. Okay.
Thank you, Linda.
Let's see. Christine is muted right now.
So I'll mute myself now. Right?
I am getting from somewhere, and check me, it may just be me. When certain people speak, I'm getting a very low-pitched rumble. Anybody
Is it
besides
me?
hearing that? Go ahead, do it again.
Is it me?
No.
I'm not hearing that. But it is a good practice to just everyone stay muted unless you are actively speaking.
Yeah, Zoom isn't kind to such things. Gets very confused very quickly. I'll start a little music. Looks like I see 10:25. We can start right at 10:30. I'll do some music until then.
Good morning. I'm Shana Tova. I'm Lori Kirkpatrick, Community Involvement Coordinator for Jewish Gateways. It's great to see everyone again who joined us last night, and a warm welcome to those of you who are here for the first time this year. This is an unusual and important gathering of our community. What I am about to say is mostly a repeat of my words last night. I hope you'll treat them like a song on the radio. The first time it may attract your attention. The second time you listen for nuances you missed and maybe hear the words and music a little differently. We are coming together to create a circle of warmth and light at a dark, daunting time. I know we are carrying grief and losses from the pandemic, political fears, racial and environmental reckonings, perhaps even the death of loved ones or strongly experienced memories of them. We also suffer from the injury and absence of our rabbi, Bridget Wynn, who is home and resting, recovering from a fall. All of this sits very heavy in our hearts. At such moments, we can find strength by returning to the traditions and rituals, hearing Jewish wisdom in new ways, and feeling the collective power of meditation and prayer. As someone who has been a hub behind the scenes for this past week, I can say that a large number of us have been working very diligently to maintain this Rosh Hashanah celebration in Rabbi Bridget's absence. In the spirit of this holiday and our community, we are confident you will be patient if we experience any unexpected glitches. Rabbi Bridget's good friend, Rabbi Ruth Adar, has generously donated so much time and energy to lead us for this holiday. She has been a delight. Everyone involved has worked overtime, attempting things they've never tried before, rising into new skills. Online Shabbat continued with a whole work group of volunteers. Family services took place this morning with Joel and congregation member Nancy Brenner leading. This is a very personal and beautiful community. Last night, through her son and wife, Rabbi Bridget sent us these messages. Her desire to be with us, her appreciation for everyone's hard work, especially Rabbi Ruth's, and her wishes for a sweet new year. Bridget teaches us that each person must find their own special gifts, their strengths and talents, and contribute them for the good of everyone. Never is this lesson more true than in a time of crisis. Thank you for being a part of this year's Rosh Hashanah. Please allow me to introduce Rabbi Ruth Adar.
Thank you so much, Lori. It's an honor to be here with your beautiful community today and last night. It is really a privilege to see a community come together and do so many wonderful and really very challenging things all together. I want to underline some things for your comfort during the service. One is that if you need to take a break, please feel free to do so. Nobody's monitoring your comings and goings. Other than, that brings to my second point, except when you are actually speaking, please leave yourself muted. You'll notice that the clergy are doing the same thing because it makes a difference in how the whole system works. So please mute your screens by clicking on that little microphone icon in your window. Make sure that you stay muted. It really does help. The next thing that I want to mention is that is the use of the chat box. If anyone needs tech help during the service, you can use the chat box to ask for help. The tech hosts, Christine, will be with you and be able to help you. Now, the catch to that is that if we use the chat box for lots of other things as well, it gets hard for her to spot who's asking for help. So in order to take care of each other during the bulk of the service, please let the chat box be there for people who are asking for help. Towards the end of the service, we will have a cottage period when we can mention names or type names into the chat box, and that time it will be fine. But let's take care of each other so that if someone needs help, they can get it. Lastly, I want to ask you, we've got some wonderful recordings here of music, some music live, some recording. Remember that even though we have to mute and listen to these things instead of having real congregational singing, you absolutely can sing at home while you're muted, and feel free to do that, to really let the music lift you in whatever way it works on you. So now we'd like to begin the service proper with Joel Siegel, who is our cantorial soloist, and you will hear other voices. That's the gate, as Joel's fond of saying, it's the Gateways Tabernacle Choir.
Accepting new memberships.
Yes, anytime. Talk to Joel if you're interested in that. But we're going to begin with Hine Matov, which means how good it is when we can come together.
Speaking of which, are we still recording, Christine? That looks
Yes,
like
we
a yes
are.
from Jim. Thank you.
הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. tohu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
Rabbi, you need to unmute.
Whoops. Okay, there we go. Thank you for the reminder. It is good for all of us to be together this morning. It's a joyful thing. Some of you may know some Hebrew. Some of you may know a lot of Hebrew, and some may not know any at all. But if you hear people saying Shana Tova, that means Happy New Year in Hebrew. I'd like to invite some folks who have who can teach us how to say other things in could bring us New Year greetings in other languages. Dave Green, I understand you can say it for us in Japanese.
I can try. Akimashito omedetou. The year opens. Congratulations.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Catherine Warren, I understand you can share greetings with us in French.
Yeah, bonne année.
Thank you. Thank you. And Michelle Leaker in Spanish.
Feliz Año Nuevo.
Ah, thank you. Toda rabba, that's thank you very much in Hebrew. And we will proceed with going to breakout rooms. Just so you know, you're going to be sent magically to a room with a few other households. You're not lost. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Say Happy New Year to each other in whatever language you like. And what brought you here to services? I encourage you to use your video if possible. If not, of course, that's fine too. And there is a timer at the top of the screen. You'll be called back magically to this central space in 5 minutes. So just know that that you will be brought back here. So enjoy visiting with each other and saying Shana Tova or whatever Happy New Year you've got.
We're going to be moving in just a moment.
I always follow the Zoom breadcrumbs back again. Maybe they're challah crumbs.
Joel, I don't have a listing on the sheet for what I'm introing next.
I can do it if you want. It's Matovu. It's the morning, slide number 3.
Okay, I'd like to do that one if I may.
Sure. By all means.
Hi, Holly. I see that you were assigned to a breakout room. Are you having trouble getting into it. Oh, in the waiting room.
Christine, there's a concept in Jewish literature of the bat kol, the heavenly voice. And you're our bat kol for this service.
That is awesome.
That's very sweet.
Very true.
Hi, Susan. I see that you've been assigned to a breakout room. Are you having trouble getting into it?
No, I just joined the video, and so I'm just going to give myself a break to get acclimated because I'd be coming in the middle of the conversation. So I'll go next time.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, Shana Tova, Susan, glad to have you.
Just leave Jessica there for now. Joel and Rabbi Ruth, everything good? Any notes before we come back to the big group?
All good. It's all good.
All good on my end. I'm repositioning my mic. I should be right on top of it. Actually, hold on a second. Sibilant. How did that sound? I had a little bit of clipping indication over here. Okay.
Sounds good. We're back in 30 seconds.
Terrific.
Yeah. They'll have the option to come back in about 20 seconds now, but then they have 30 seconds to actually all come back. So I'll give you a heads up
before
when they're all back.
Cool.
Thanks. They have a new rabbi there in charge of education. So that was interesting. He just graduated from UNI College.
All right, we're all back.
Welcome back. Welcome back. So glad to have you. I hope you had a chance to do a little bit of visiting. We will be doing more of that at the end of the service. We are going to proceed with the service now with a text called Ma Tovu. It's a traditional greeting it's traditional to say this line from scripture when we see a bunch of Jews gathered together for worship. You may have run across it in a Torah portion as well when Bilam, the sorcerer, is hired by King Barak to go curse the Jews, or rather the house of Israel at that point. He can't do so. And when he finally tries to, what comes out of his mouth is a blessing. And that's where we get the text for Ma Tovu. So Joel and the choir are going to play Ma Tovu, and we will feel free to sing on your own at home, muted.
My favorite part of that Bilam story is the part with the talking donkey. That alone makes it worth reading. Matovu, it's the morning. Matovu, bless us this morning. Ohalecha, let us enter. Yaakov, our heritage. Mishkenotecha, we are searching, will you show us? Yisrael, we are Yisrael. Born to sing your praises in your holy, holy spaces. Matovu, bless the morning. Matovu. Born to sing your praises in your holy, holy spaces. Matovu, bless the morning. Matovu.
Now we're going to invite ourselves into the great theme of the High Holy Days, which is tshuva, returning. Sometimes people say, oh, tshuva, that means repentance, but it means much more than that. It means returning to the essence of Torah, to the essence of who we really are. And so we sing about that both with the tune Return Again, and then with Hashivenu, which you will recognize when Joel sings it.
Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again, return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai, Elecha, Venashuva, Venashuva. Kadesh, Kadesh, Yameinu Kekedem. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai, Elecha, Venashuva, Venashuva. Kadesh, Kadesh, Yameinu Kekedem. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai, Elecha, Venashuva, Venashuva. Kadesh, Kadesh, Yameinu Kekedem.
Rabbi Ruth mentioned earlier that we were sounding musical and textual themes for the High Holy Days, for the Days of Awe. And this is another one. We sang it a little bit for practice last night. We'll just review once more in case you're just joining and getting familiar. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, lie, ya, la, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 ah, la, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Those are all the building blocks. And then you can put them together like Legos, pretty much however you need to in the moment. For example, lie, 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 lie. No, that's actually what I did before. Never mind. No, that was right. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. No, I promise the coffee really has kicked in, mostly. Rabbi Ruth, bring us into worship.
So we are about to begin the very serious business of the Shema and its blessings. We begin by lifting our hearts, and in some case, lifting our bodies. Whatever works for you in a Zoom environment. You might stand up. You might put your talit over your head, or you might do any of a number of things to elevate yourself for the Baruchu, the call to prayer.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. On the next slide, we sing this meditation to bring ourselves into alignment to say the Shema. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one, and we will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Now, having said the Amidah, that great central citation from scripture that sums up all of Jewish theology, we enter a part of the service called the Amidah, the standing prayer, which we will do in silence today with this set of Kavanah from Rabbi Richard Levy on Wings of Awe. Praised are you for your wisdom that is hidden, for your dream that we might become people in the fullness of the light. Your dream has become our conscience. May it never be silent in us. May it never be as though we had not heard it. Praised are you for making people responsible for the future of one another. Praised are you for who have called, where are you? Where is your brother, your sister? Did you give one person to the other for their children to kill each other? Praised are you for people who hear your word and do it. They are like trees planted by living water. Praised are you for all those who support each other, who give comfort and light, who in their secret way make life easier to bear. Praised are you in those who walk on your path, who do justice and honor the stranger in their midst. Praised are you for nameless people who dare to oppose the cruelties they see because they hope in the day you are preparing when cruelties will end. May the words of my mouth and the stirrings of my heart be received by you, my Redeemer. Let us know your peace. Make peace felt among all the people Israel and all who dwell on earth, that all of us might one day together say, Amen. Now we pray silently.
Please take your time. We're going to settle into our breath, settle into silence. We're going to spend a good chunk of time, 3 or 4 minutes. Take your time and just come back when you're ready. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oh, say shalom. Bim romav. Oh, say shalom. Bim romav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oh, say shalom. Im romav. Oh, say shalom. Im romav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one bring peace down. May the one bring peace down. May the one bring peace down, bring peace down.
We're now going to continue the service with Avinu Malkeinu. As we talked about last night, Avinu Malkeinu literally translated means our Father, our King. And obviously in modern times, that is a little bit awkward. So we translate it lots of different ways. Feel free to think about what you might call Avinu Malkeinu, a parent and a source, or a mystery. But whatever we call, this is a traditional part of the High Holy Days to acknowledge this old prayer and maybe to struggle with it a little bit. Joel will lead us in Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu va'anenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu va'anenu, Ki ein banu ma'asim, Aseh imanu, Tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu. Our Mother and Father of life, please hear us and give us your grace. Oh, guide deep within us, oh, hear us and give us compassion and mercy and peace. Oh, guide us through your grace, justice and mercy to all. Oh, guide us and teach us, grant justice and mercy, we shall be free once again. Aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu.
We've now reached a point in the service where we're going to sing this line from Exodus, these two verses, which are also a signature item of the High Holy Days. The words that we say are, we actually learned from Moses, who learned them, according to scripture, from God, when God was very angry at Israel and very angry with everybody but Moses. God taught this prayer to Moses and said, when you really need me to forgive you, say these words.
Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim, V'Rav Chesed v'Emet, Notzer Chesed la'alafim, Nose Avon v'Fesha, V'Hata'ah v'Nakeh. Adonai, Adonai, compassion and tenderness, patience, forbearance, kindness, awareness, bearing love from age to age, lifting guilt and mistakes, and making us free.
We have a special reading today for the Torah reading. It'll be a little bit unusual. I have visual problems, and so my reading from a Torah was not a possibility this morning. But we have a recording of Rabbi Bridget reading it last year from the Sefer Torah, from the Torah scroll. It's very beautiful. I do need to warn you that the volume is very low. So you may want to turn up the volume on your computer or phone, however you're listening to this. And I apologize. We wish we could make it a more perfect recording, but we're kind of working with what we've got here. We thought that it would be a comfort and a joy to have Rabbi Bridget with us even through a recording. So first, we're going to have the blessings for the Torah, which Joel will lead, and then we will listen and learn as Rabbi Bridget teaches the Torah lesson and reads it for us from the Sefer Torah.
And again, this gets a little bit, I guess, disorganized sounding, but I encourage anybody who wants to, at this point, only for this part, to unmute themselves. Even though it's not bolded, the second line that says Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed, it's the same as the second line of Baruch Hu. That is a congregational response, just like the amens that Rabbi Ruth has been explaining with us, and the responses to Kaddish. So if you want to be a listener and responder, that's your line. And if you want to say the blessing, the whole thing, feel free. You get to pick. Those of us making the blessing, join together now. Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Elokeinu melech haolam. Asher b'chanu mikol ha'amim. Venatan lanu et Torah. Baruch ata Adonai noten Torah. Any of you have been in a traditional synagogue, especially Orthodox, that's exactly what it sounds like. It's a wonderful, holy cacophony.
Now we're ready for the recording, Christine. Thank you.
I'm going to say a few words before I start reading from the Torah, and I'm going to read in Hebrew and then translate it into English as I go. This is a story about Abraham and his son Isaac and a trial they went through together. And by that I mean a challenge, a crisis. And I want you to pay attention to a couple of things. But before I tell you what they are, first I want to invite you, for everybody who has something there to write with and has some paper, it was something I suggested you might have ready for services, or if you want to get it, what I want to invite you to do is jot down any questions or thoughts you have as I'm reading, because then we're going to get to talk about the Torah portion and some of what it might have to say to us afterwards. And I'd love you to hang on to your questions and thoughts for that discussion. So as I said, this is a father and a son going through a crisis, and a couple things I want you to pay attention to. One is we're going to hear a word that we don't hear very often in the Torah, a very meaningful word, hineni, and that means here I am. Not just as in, well, I'm standing here, but as in I am present, I'm fully here to pay attention, I'm ready. So listen for those hinenis and the different situations they come up in. And then the other thing I want you to pay attention to is Abraham is going to have God speak to him. And he's going to do what God said, but then it's going to change, and God is going to want something different from him. And please see what your thoughts are about whether Abraham is hearing a change that might have been there all along, or God changed God's mind, or why does this story get up to a very scary point and then change to something really different? And we're going to be connecting the story some to some of the challenges we're facing today. How we can be present, how we can be there ready to say, Hineni, I'm here, I'm ready, and how we can listen to and look for the different ways we might respond in the situation, which might change or need to change so that we're really responding from our highest values. Amen. ויהי אחר הדברים האלה, והאלוהים נישא את אברהם, ויאמר אליו, אברהם, ויאמר הנני. After some other things had happened, God tested Abraham, and God said to him, Abraham, and Abraham said, Hineni, I am present. ויאמר, קח נא את בנך את יחידך אשר אהבת את יצחק ולך לך אל ארץ המוריה. And God said to Abraham, take your son and your only son who you love, Isaac, and take him up to a land that I will show you, land of Moriah. V'ha'alehu sham le'olah al echad heharim asher amar elecha. And take him up as an offering on one of the hills that I will point out to you. Vayashkem Avraham baboker, v'yachavosh et chamoro, v'yikach et shnei ne'arav ito, ve'et Yitzchak beno. So Abraham got up early in the morning, and he took his donkey with him, and he took with him 2 of his servants, and he took with him Isaac, his son. Vayavka atse olah, vayakom vayelech el hamakom asher amar lo ha'elohim. And he took the wood, and he got up and went to the place that God had told him about. Vayom hashlishi vaysa Avraham et enav, vayar et hamakom merachok. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and he saw the place from afar. Vayomer Avraham el na'arav, shu lechem po im hachamor, va'ani v'hana'ar nilcha adko v'nishtachaveh v'nashuva alechem. And Abraham said to his servants, you stay here with the donkey, and the boy and I will go up and we'll bow down, we will worship, and we will return to you. Vayikach Avraham et atse ha'olah, vayasem al Yitzchak beno. So Abraham took the wood for the offering and he placed it on his son Isaac. Vayikach beyado et ha'esh ve'et hama'achelet, and he took the fire and the knife. Vayelchu shnehem yachdav, and the 2 of them walked on together. Vayomer Yitzchak el Avraham aviv, vayomer avi. And Isaac said to his father, Abraham, my father. Vayomer hineni beni. And Abraham said, I am present, my son. Vayomer hine ha'esh v'ha'etzim va'ayeh hasel olah. And he said, here is the fire and the wood. Where is the sheep for the offering? Vayomer Avraham Elohim yirelo hasel olah bani. And Abraham said, God will show us the sheep for the offering, my son. Vayelchu shnehem yachdav. And the 2 of them walked on together. Vayavo'u el hamakom asher amar lo ha'elohim. And they came to the place that God had told them about. Vayiven sham Avraham et hamizbeach. And Abraham built an altar there. Vaya'aroch et ha'etzim vaya'akod Yitzchak bano. And he laid out the wood and he bound his son Isaac. Vayasem oto el hamizbeach mima'al la'etzim. And he put Isaac on the altar on top of the wood. Vaishlach Avraham et yadav vayikach et hama'achelet lishchot et bano. Abraham took the knife and he reached out his hand to slaughter his son. Vayikra elav malach Adonai min hashamayim. And a messenger of God called out from the sky. Vayomer, Avraham, Avraham. And the messenger said, Abraham, Abraham. Vayomer, hineni. And Abraham said, I am present. Vayomer, al tishlach yadcha el hana'ar vel al ta'as lo me'uma. And the messenger said, do not stretch out your hand towards the boy and don't do anything to him. Keta yadati ki yireh Elohim ata. For now I know that you hold God in awe. Velo hashachta et bincha et yechidcha mimeni. And you have not withheld your son, your only one, from me. Vaysa Avraham et enav vayar hine ayel achar ne'echaz b'schach. And Abraham looked up, and look, there was a ram caught by its horns in the bush. V'karnav vayelech Avraham vayikach et ha'ayel vayalehu la'olah tachat bano. Abraham got the ram and offered him instead of his son. Vayikra Avraham Shem hamakom hahu Adonai Yireh Asher Ye'amar Hayom Behar Adonai Yireh. And Abraham called the place God is seen, and it is called today God is seen. Vayikra Malach Adonai El Avraham Shenit Min Hashamayim. And the messenger of God called out to Abraham again from the sky. Vayomer Bi Nishbati Ne'um Adonai. I swear, by God swears. Yes, God swears. Miya'an ki ya'an asher asita et hadvar hazeh velo hashachta et bincha et yechidcha. Because you did this thing and you did not withhold your son, your only one. Ki varech avarechacha veharbe arbe et zarecha kechochavei hashemayim v'chachol asher asfat hayam. I will bless your descendants, and they will be as many as the stars in the sky and the sand by the sea. Vayirash zarecha et sha'ar oivav. And they will defeat their enemies at the gates. Vehit baruchu b'zarecha kol goyeh haaretz. And all the people of the earth will be blessed through your descendants. Ekev asher shamata b'koli, because you listened to my voice. Vayashav Avraham el na'arav. Abraham went back to his servants. Vayakumu vayelchu el Be'ersheva. And they got up and they went to the town of Beersheba. Vayeshev Avraham Beersheba. And Abraham dwelled in Beersheba. And now I'm going to close our Torah. And I'm again going to connect with it on all of our behalf with my prayer shawl. And now we can offer the blessing after our Torah reading.
So let us once again thank you, Rabbi Bridget. And those who wish to unmute to say the blessing or to respond, Amen, feel free. We'll make that holy cacophony. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat Chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
And now we'll take a little time to discuss the Torah portion. Instead of me telling you what I think it means, let's explore that together. And so if Christine, if you could give us the large group picture of this group. If you wish to raise your hand to speak, You can either do this, or even better, use the link at the bottom. Your participant, let's see.
Normally reactions.
Yeah,
Yes.
to raise your hand, you'll click reactions and then click raise hand. And I can't force everyone's view to go back to the gallery view, but I can tell you how to make that happen. In
Thank you.
In the upper right-hand corner of the videos that you see, there's a little gray button that says view. If you click on that and then make sure that gallery is checked, click on gallery if it's not already checked, and then you'll be able to see everyone's beautiful faces.
Okay, thank you very much, Christine. We're so grateful for your leadership and shepherding of us through this process. So we've just listened to Rabbi Bridget read from the Sefer Torah, from the Torah scroll, to tell us the story of the Akedah, the binding of Isaac. And it is one of the most difficult stories in our tradition. It's also one of the central stories of our tradition. And before we begin discussing, I want to remind you that there is no single right answer about the meaning or even why we kept this really frightening story. So I see Sarah's hand up. What would you have a question or a comment, Sarah, about the meaning of this portion?
I had a comment, and oh, someone wants me to start the video. I can start the video. I mean, I've heard this every year, right? For how many years? And today it was somehow really, really poignant, and I started to cry. And what struck me that I didn't, every year I noticed something different in the story. And this was Abraham went back to his servants. It didn't say Abraham and Isaac went back to the servants.
Right.
And it's
You're
like,
right.
talk about the original trauma that has set off generations and generations of Jewish suffering. And I'm just so sorry about all of it. I mean, it's Abraham not only kicked out Hagar and Ishmael, he was about to kill his son. And it's like, I have no forgiveness for Abraham. That's my comment.
That is a very valid comment, and you are not the first person to feel that way about the story. There is a commentator named Phyllis Tribble who wrote a book about these difficult passages in scripture, and she called them tales of terror. In fact, if any of you are interested in looking it up afterwards, the title of the book is Tales of Terror. And it's about how difficult these stories are. Abraham's aloneness at the end, and twice the text mentions that he went to Beersheba, meaning he didn't go back immediately where Sarah was either. He went to Beersheba, which is where Hagar was. So it's a very mysterious story and a very difficult story. Anybody else have a comment or question about the reading we just heard?
I see David's hand up.
David?
Yeah, I had a different reaction to the story this year than I've ever had before. And that is that it seems like the story and the discussion every year it's all about ambiguity. And it struck me that we are starting off our year every year with a really difficult exercise in reconciling ambiguity.
That's the truth. It really is. And it may well be one of the characteristics of biblical stories is that there is a lot of information left out. That's why we have midrash. We have stories about the stories. In this one, we don't know exactly what's going on with Abraham. He wakes up in the middle of the night, he hears this voice, and he just does what it says. He doesn't argue, but we don't know what's going on in his head or his heart. We also don't really know what's going on with God, that God asked for such a thing. One of the interpretations is that this is in fact Judaism rejecting child sacrifice, in which case it puts a little different spin on it. And maybe it's less of a failure that Abraham trusted that God wouldn't let this happen. I don't know. I don't know. We just know that Abraham was apparently willing to go ahead with it. Just disturbing. We don't know what was going on with Isaac. And it is really the case that when we begin this and we see this story at a time when we're so stressed out, when we're at the beginning of a new year and we don't know what might be coming in the year to come, reading this story reminds us that we're going to face a lot of situations that are maybe not simple and for which there are no simple answers. Let's see, we've got some more hands. Oh, and I have a question. Who was Hagar? Hagar was the handmaiden who had the first child of Abraham, Ishmael, who is believed to be, according to the legend, is the ancestor of all the Arab countries and of all, through Muhammad, of all of our Muslim cousins. This story also appears in the Quran in a slightly different form. And the child on the altar in that case is Ishmael. So that's another confusion to the story. But we'll deal today with our story, which is about Akedat Yitzchak, about the binding of Isaac. Okay, I see hands. Nora Schwartz.
Great, thank you. So I have a question and a thought. I've also heard this differently. First of all, I'm really impressed with Rabbi Bridget, that, you know, watching her read the Hebrew and translate to English, that's a really special skill. So, you know, I appreciate that she's able to do that. And getting back to this story, one thing I had just never thought about is how old is Isaac at this time? And I guess I've always imagined him being a teenager and rebelling. And now I'm thinking he was probably a young kid. I mean, just, you know, maybe 10 years old at the most. That's the way I imagined it. But as far as Abraham, I really wonder about his mental health. I think that this is a story about mental health. I mean, we're taught in Judaism to question. At least that's what I was taught. Mm-hmm. He did not even question. And to me, that is not being mentally healthy. And I can't forgive him either. But I just wonder, you know, was he was so old also at the time? Was he growing into an age of dementia? Was he always just this really not very kind person? You know, we obviously don't know much about him, but I don't imagine him being very mentally healthy. Thank you.
One of the things that is really amazing about this particular story is how many different ways we can see it and interpret it. And it lends itself to the kind of discussion we're having here. It is a terrible story. And we do wonder what's going on with Abraham. We wonder what's going on with Isaac. There are different midrash. Most artists picture him as a little child, but there are midrashim that says he was a grown man. He could have wrestled his father off of him, but that he submitted to this, which is oy gewalt. You know, what are we to do with that? I don't have answers. I just have questions too, but you're raising very good questions. We've also got a hand up from Lynn.
I'm muted here. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Rabbi, for kind of offering this space for discussion and for noticing in the chat about Hagar. I was going to kind of look at that. I have 2 or 3 different threads that came up for me this year. I hope it's not too complicated. One was, I don't know if the Hebrew says to Abraham, take your only son. And so this question of the two sons and the two stories and the implications of that for our times, that there are two different stories, and what does that mean? What can I learn from that? So that was one question that came up. A second one was this question of what does it mean to sacrifice? And I've been listening to a lot of talks this year because it's the year of the Shemitah, the 50 years where you give back the land and you give back debts, and sometimes people are translating it as release. And so what is Abraham being called on to do is release his son as a whole different way of thinking about sacrifice. And so as the internal spiritual struggle of Abraham, what does it mean to release that which is most precious to us? And what am I being called on to release as a white person in the 21st century of privilege, who is part of a country and a system that has desecrated the earth? And so the whole questions around social justice come to mind with this question of attachment and release. And then the third place about the attachment, and Isaac not saying anything, but then the universe, in a sense, which is my way of understanding God, but the universe providing the ram. How did the ram feel? And what is being asked of us now with compassion for animals? And can we say, okay, are we sacrificing for whatever reasons the animals and the plants of our planet for what we think is for us, our well-being only? So a lot of questions that hadn't occurred to me before came up. So thank you for listening.
Wonderful questions. In relation to that last, any of you who are interested in Israeli poetry, there is a poem by Yehuda Amichai that explores the Ayil, the ram, and his point of view on the story. But I don't have it handy here. But you're right, there are so many questions, and those are all good ones. Cora, do you have a question or comment?
Kind of both. It's good to see Rabbi Adar, albeit under not the best circumstances. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I hear this differently every year. And what came up for me, first of all, the mental health point that Nora brought up, I think that's an excellent lens through which to view this. I was wondering when you said, why did we keep it? I actually was wondering who kept it, like sort of like what did the Jewish community look like in the time when, I assume like a group of rabbis were like, yeah, this is great. Let this. So I was wondering that's sort of a question. I don't know if this is the time to go into that.
It's a great question. And it's a question we can raise not only about the Torah, but about the Tanakh and about a lot of rabbinic literature. Who kept it? Why did they keep it? What were they thinking? One thing I can suggest is that I teach a class on this, which I will be teaching through Jewish Gateways later this year, called Israel and Texts. But more to your point, we know that scholars tell us that the texts were written down sometime in either during the exile or in the early Second Temple period. However, there's also a traditional view that these stories were all written down by Moshe Rabbeinu, by Moses, our teacher. I think there's lots of possibilities there. It is one of the characteristics of the Jewish people that we keep a lot of weird stories and a lot of minority opinions. And then we go back and look at them later. Occasionally we make use of them. The change of mind about the ordination of women is a good example of that. 50 years ago this year, American Jews ordained their first woman rabbi. And 30 years before that, the Jews of Germany ordained a woman rabbi. But all of that was justified by things that had been kept. Nobody had paid any attention to them. They just kept them. I'm going to recognize one more hand and then one more speaker, and then we're going to have to return to the service. But by all means, this is stuff to talk about around your table, around with your friends. This is the meat and the heart of the High Holy Days. Dan, would you have a comment or question for the last one?
Sure. I do think some other people's hands were up before me, so I defer to Lindsay and Joel if they want to go first. But
okay.
But
Let's take Lindsay then, and I'll pop in towards the end.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just really briefly say, it just made me, I think obviously in the last year and a half, we've thought a lot about sacrifice, and a lot of us have sacrificed a lot, some more than others, some less than others, but we've all made sacrifices. And so thinking about that, and also thinking of what a parent's ultimate responsibility is. I have 2 young children, and I feel like I've sacrificed more in the last year and a half because of them. Family relationships and other things. And again, some have.
Hang on a second, folks. There are some folks who are not muted. Please make sure you're muted if you're not actively speaking. The crosstalk really makes it hard to understand the person who is.
So, what we sacrifice for our children and what our ultimate responsibility is. And I think for me personally, kind of responsibility one to them is their safety, physical and otherwise. And so I just think about Abraham's negligence as a parent, in my opinion. But people prioritize things in different ways. And so when I see someone who is, in my opinion, sacrificed less, or maybe I think they're sacrificing their child's safety for something, what are the motivations behind that? Are they religious reasons? Are they political reasons? Are they other? So I was just thinking about sort of motivation and prioritization of values.
Good questions all. Very well said. Okay, I'm sorry to cut things off here, but we need to complete the service. Thank you all for your insights. They're wonderful and very very insightful. Now we are moving on to the shofar service, which is it's the central mitzvah, the commandment for the day is to hear the shofar. Joel, will you lead us in the blessings for hearing the shofar?
Happy to. Hang on a moment. I'm going to put my hand down. While I'm doing that, I was struck when we first began discussing this portion, the word terror coming up a lot. And Barbara Brown Taylor is a wonderful writer. She's got a few books out. She's also an Episcopal priest or bishop, or perhaps both. And she has a piece online that you can find. Again, her name is Barbara Brown Taylor, and it's called Preaching the Terror. She describes at the beginning meeting with a group of women, I believe a Christian group, and they wanted to hear more about the women of the Bible. And she said, I picked Esther, I picked Yael, who is a woman who is recorded and among the battles of the Canaanites is, buckle up, sorry, might be oversharing a bit, driving a tent peg through the head of Sisera, one of the enemies of Israel at the time, and several other women in the same vein. And she said, people were very quiet when she was done, and they didn't ask her back. They were hoping for, some of the warm, fuzzy stories, and she didn't give them the warm, fuzzy. She gave them, pieces of the terror. It's really a great piece, and it recalls a story that maybe if there's time at the end, I'll relate, but I won't now. The universe is terrifying sometimes. In short, especially if we depersonalize God a bit, the terrors are out there, and they're also in here, and the Bible records that too. And this is a story of one of those terrors. Really a good piece. I recommend it. Barbara Brown Taylor, Preaching the Terrors. And indeed, even when we pick up that ram's horn, it's a thing from a living animal, a formerly living animal. And we do wonder, how did the ram feel? It's symbolic of so many things. I'll stop there. We'll say the blessings, and then we'll hear the sound of the shofar. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu v'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lishmoa kol shofar. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kiyemanu v'higi'anu lazaman hazeh. And before we go into that, I'm going to just remember, once we finish this, we should back up and do healing blessing. We skipped that. Okay. Let's do the shofar call. We can go ahead one slide and call up Suzanne Chaslow, who I saw on the call earlier, who is going to help us fulfill this mitzvah of hearing the sound of the shofar. And Rabbi Ruth, I believe you're calling. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
Tekiah. Shevarim Trua. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shevarim Trua. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shivarim Trua. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shivarim. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shivarim. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shivarim. Tekiah. Tekiah. Trua. Tekiah. Tekiah. Trua. Tekiah. Tekiah. Trua. Tekiah Gadola. She's muted.
How did that happen? Suzanne, I don't know if you can hear us. Yashikoch, Suzanne, can you hear us?
Thank you, Suzanne.
Unfortunately, at the Tekiah Gedolah, somehow you got muted.
Would you like me to do it again?
Yes, can we do?
Do you have it in you?
We'll do the last line over, if that's okay with you. You are doing so beautifully.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody listen very well. Feel it in your soul. Feel it in your body if you can. Tikia. Trua. Tikia Gedolah. Yashikoach.
Yashikoach.
Thank you very much, Suzanne, and thank you for the extra effort.
My pleasure.
All right. Now we have heard the sound of the shofar, and we are going to remember now, since our Torah reading was on a recording, things are a little out of order this morning, but we are going to remember all of those who are not well, who are sick. And I don't think we have a slide for that easily available, but what we will
might
do,
have it. We might have slide number 14. That's what my outline says.
yes. I'd like to, while Christine is looking to see if we have that, I want to remind you that Kaddish is for people who have died. We are remembering all of those who are sick. And I would include all of those who are sick, as we mentioned, that may have been Abraham, may have been suffering from dementia, or he may have been suffering from some other mental illness. Isaac is one of the midrashim about Isaac is that he was impaired for the rest of his life after this horrible experience. That he had emotional difficulties that caused him trouble all over the place. So there are those who are suffering in mind or spirit. There are those who are suffering in their bodies. There are also those who are suffering from misinformation and bad teaching. There are those who suffer in silence and nobody around them knows they're suffering. There are those who suffer very noisily, and we have a tendency to say, well, this person is on my nerves. But all suffering is suffering. There's no worse and better. It's just all bad. So we remember all of those. You may have names you'd like to lift up. And if so, do that. We will, Joel, would you sing the Misha Berach prayer for us, please?
Yes, absolutely. Christine, if we can back up, if slide number 14 is available, slide number 14, that should have Misha Berach on it if we have it in our deck. I'm going to give us a moment. You can either place the names of people you are praying for healing for in the chat. You can say it out loud. I'm going to say Rabbi Bridget's name for all of us, wishing for her speedy recovery. And anybody else, we're going to do it again, just in the chat or out loud. Just jump in and say it when you're ready. I'm asking for healing for Naomi Badina, Shulamit Badina, Shahid Hamid, Nahid
Ellie
Maruch,
Cardella.
Baruch Ben Golda, Yosef Ben Shira.
Boris and his sister.
I am still seeing the Mourner's Kaddish on the screen. I haven't gotten any direct messages from tech yet. Christine, are you on? Or Eric? Do we have any shot at getting slide 14 up? Well, that is maybe happening. Okay, hang on a moment. Other forms of communication are coming in. Okay, tech is having tech issues. Stuff, like we said, stuff happens. We are staying patient. We're rolling with it. So I will call names. I will call words as we go ahead. I'll do my best Arlo Guthrie impression that I can manage at this point. Mishaberach avotenu, mekor habracha leimotenu. May the one who blessed our fathers, the source of blessing for our mothers. Mishaberach avotenu, mekor habracha. Mekor haberacha leimotenu. Leimotenu. May the source of strength. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. To make our lives a blessing. And let us say amen. And let us say amen. Mishaberach leimotenu. Mishaberach imotenu. Mishaberach imotenu. Mekor habracha. Mekor haberacha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. And let us say
Amen and Yasher Koach, Joel. And I was reading the chat box while this was going on and just marveling at the beauty of this congregation. All these beautiful voices and hearts. Now we have reached the point in the service where we will Molly Freeman from the steering committee will have a greeting for us. Molly?
Hello, I'm Molly Freeman. I've been engaged with Jewish Gateways since Bridget, the time when she was convening Friday night services in the office that I shared with her in a home on Liberty Street in El Cerrito. And I remember it well on Friday afternoons when I would leave the office and the dining room in the home would be set for Shabbat dinner. And I'm currently serving on the steering council. Some years ago, I stood before you under our large white tent at the JCC and riffed on our name, Jewish Gateways. Today, I want to extend the riff to our current historic turbulent time. As some of you may know, I am active in advocating for a just peace between Israelis and Palestinians. I've found Gateways and Rabbi Bridget's profound interpretations of Jewish texts to be a treasured oasis for solace and serenity away from the political fray. Today, there seems no way to escape the fray, given COVID, climate change, racial justice, political polarization. However, Jewish Gateways continues as a rich source of meaning for me. Jewish Gateways helps me navigate persistent uncertainty and anxiety. It is a gateway to reflection, inspiration, and the courage to be in the moment. A gateway to being able to step up to the challenges these historic moments demand of us. Our engagement with Jewish Gateways is also an opportunity to contribute to our community. Jewish Gateways is almost entirely funded by your donations. As Rabbi Bridget continues to heal, perhaps our contributions, as Sandy suggested last night, can express our gratitude for her gifts of compassion and teachings. I hope you will join with me in contributing whatever you can to enhance Jewish Gateway's capacity to sustain each of us and our community in these demanding, fraughtful times. Shana Tova.
Amen ve'amen, Molly. Thank you so much for those words.
Thank you, Molly.
Now we have reached the point in the service where we are getting ready to say Kaddish. The mourner's Kaddish, the Kaddish Yatom, is a prayer that has been with us a very long time. There are some who say that it is really a connection between heaven and earth. I treasure it personally because it is a way of checking in on one another. You see who turns up as a mourner at Kaddish. But on the high holidays and some other occasions, we remember all of those, not just for yard sites or recent deaths, but we lift up all the names that we're thinking about. I invite you again to use the chat box to remember those that the names of your loved ones, the names of people that you admire who have passed on. We are a community that prides itself on memory, and remembering it. When you choose to remember, you choose to remember the good and the bad. We choose to remember a lot of things, but I encourage you to put names that you are thinking of in the chat box. And Christine, if you could put the mourner's Kaddish up on the screen. When the names have slowed down a little bit, then we will say Kaddish Yatom together. While the names are coming up, I will also remind you that the bolded words in Mourner's Kaddish are for the congregation. We can all say Kaddish together if we wish. If the language is difficult for you, you can still get credit for saying it by saying Amen when we all say Amen. And the line in the middle, the response is also part of that. If you're wondering, well, what is it I'm saying? The translation is really very simple. If you listen to the rhythm of it, Yit Gadal, Yit Gadash, and so forth and so on, it's actually praises of God. It doesn't talk about death at all. It reminds us that the glory of God may be hidden from our eyes, particularly when we're grieving, but that we remind ourselves of that, of the glory of God and the basic goodness of this life. So I see the names cycling by, all of the people that folks are remembering. I remember all of those who have no one to remember them. And I remember the 6 million who died in the 20th century in that terrible disaster. I remember all of those whose lives have been lost in this terrible pandemic. And I pray for their mourners as well. Okay, so if you would like to read with me for Kaddish Yatom, feel free. And if you want to say Amen, that is also very good. If you simply want to listen to the voices, that is also a way of participating. Yit Gadal v'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'ama divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dekol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala uvizman kariv ve'imru. Amen.
Amen. Yehei shemeh rabba mevarach. Le'alamu le'alamaya yitbarach.
Yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yitpa'ar ve'yitromam ve'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudesha
Berichu.
berichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Yehei shlom rabba min shemaya, v'chayim
Im
aleinu
Aleinu
ve'al kol
Kol
Yisrael,
Yisrael.
v'imru.
Amen.
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 Osei shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru. Amen.
Amen.
And now, having passed through the valley of the shadow, remembering those who will always leave a place in our hearts, we get to a happier thing. We will be singing the blessing for Happy New Year, Lashana Tova.
Actually, if we have it, I'm changing things up if we can make the change. If we have the slide for Chazak in our deck, and if we can play that, I would like to close with that. Do we have it? If not, maybe, and if it's not a big deal, there it is. And if maybe the recording isn't on it. If it is, great.
Very good.
We, again, I mentioned this last night if you were on. We have spent the last 8 or 9 days both praying for Rabbi Bridget's health and safety and good physical state, as well as learning new things and scrambling at times, multitasking for sure, to put together the service with Rabbi Bridget's help, I'm going to say, because she has been helping to guide us, even though she's also resting up. And the words to this song, the words Chazak, Chazak, Venit, Chazak are customarily said when we finish a book of the Torah. I'm seeing from tech, no recording in the deck since it wasn't planned. Are we, this might be too much to ask, to switch to last night's deck and do it there. I just loved the hearing the choir do it, and I would love for us to be able to do it again if we can. I don't know how to send audio. I have, of course, I have the file, but I'm not sure how to play it. Okay, I'm just going to keep. Tech says, Christina's saying, give me a moment, which basically means, okay, Joel, keep talking. I can do that. We strengthened one another this past week. We each drew upon our own strength. I'm talking about now the people who were on the steering council and the people on the community involvement team and all the folks that they contacted and brought in. Everybody came together. People were talking, we were talking offline about how there was if there could be a more complete absence of ego, I have never seen it. People just did what needed to be done. And I got to call Julia just before Rosh Hashanah came in and say, I'm not calling you because we're having a crisis or because I can't find something. I'm just calling to say thank you. Thank you to you. Thank you to Rabbi Bridget and to Avi, their son. They all worked really hard and, scrounging up the files that were needed and everything else. It's really been a blessing. It's been a tremendous blessing for me personally, and the silver lining of this experience to see how this community has picked up the ball collectively and how we have gotten it done. And it is, as I said last night, a tribute to leadership when they can make themselves temporarily dispensable. Rabbi Bridget has nurtured and empowered this community to do exactly that. I can't wait to have her back, and I hope she is proud and feels good about the community that has risen up with her with her help and nurturance. Let's listen to our Jewish Gateways Tabernacle Choir singing us out with Be Strong, Chazak.
Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Be strong and let us celebrate our lives. Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Chazak, Chazak, v'nitchazek. Chazak, Chazak, v'nitchazek. We gather here from near and far to raise our voice in song. And the more we join in the refrain, the more we feel strong. Chazak, Chazak, v'nitchazek. There is a power in this place and time that shapes the rest of our lives. For when we return each year, we find a truth we can't deny. Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Be strong and let us celebrate our lives. Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Chazak, Chazak, v'nitchazek. Chazak, Chazak, v'nitchazek. As we sing, we link ourselves to those who came before. And we're all one with all those yet to come. Our strength, it will endure. Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Be strong. Be strong and let us celebrate our lives. Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Chazak, Chazak. Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Be strong and let us celebrate our lives. Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Chazak, Chazak. Be strong, be strong. Chazak, Chazak, v'nitchazek.
Shana Tova, everyone.
Oh,
We
Christine,
were-
thank you for scaring that up. That just did my soul so much good to hear that.
And we are going to conclude the service because we've run a little bit over time. I want to wish everyone a Shana Tova and thank everybody who has been a part of this. I also wanted to announce that while we are not meeting in person for Tashlich, if any of you who would like, I will be leading a program of Tashlich a meditation online about Tashlich in this same place in 15, 20, 25 minutes, 12:45. So if you would like to join us for that, wonderful. If you have a beautiful meal waiting for you and it's not a good idea, that's okay too. I've got no agenda, but that is available if anybody would like. I wish you a beautiful year of 5782 and a good and healthy new year for all of us.
Thank you. Rabbi?
And we've got the breakout rooms. If anybody wants to go to those now, you will be magically transported.
How long do you anticipate the Tashlich to last, Rabbi?
It will be short. It will be less than 30 minutes.
Okay.
My eyes are giving out on me, and so it won't be a very long thing.
Thank you.
I want to interrupt for a minute too, may I? I don't know if I'm being heard, but there were a number of you volunteers who kindly were lined up to do things for us that we didn't have time for this morning, and I just want to apologize to you. We had 5 households to visit with wine and bread blessing after this service, and thank you folks for being here and offering to that. We've been able to fit that in.
Yeah, we can do a real quick visit, maybe, if you like. I don't know, like a wave high.
We're really up on top of our next
Okay.
week. So, and we should probably keep our breakout groups to maybe 10 minutes for sharing with each other, even though that's going to be tight because we want to allow Rabbi Ruth get on for her next service.
Okay, thank you.
Apologies, it's part of what we got to fly with for this year.
Thank you all so much.
I don't know if this is a breakout room thing or artifact or something else, but I'm seeing the participant number jumping around a lot, and I don't know if this is participants in my room or the whole thing, but okay. And I'm not getting your audio, Christine. You're not muted, but I'm not getting your audio, and I know you said everything went berserk, so thanks for holding it together with chewing gum and duct tape, or putting it back together. Let's see. And we don't have Rabbi Bridget. I wanted to ask her if she wanted music. Okay. Got through it. Thank you. Thank you for fielding that knuckleball I tossed at you. Thank you for your both. Still no audio. So if you want to say anything, you can put it in the chat. I'll read it in the chat. Get down to the bottom.